But back then I'm like, I don't want to do this stuff because I don't want all the attention. I want to feel like I'm bragging. But then when they told me like, dude, you're not bragging. Like, you are helping people. And if you look at it that way, that you're going to help people, you're going to have people that are going to hate and say things like, oh, you're bragging or this or that. Let those ones hate and let them go. But it's everyone that you're helping. And I'm like, that makes sense to me. And that's what I want to do now.
You know, you owe it to the industry. Honestly, you do. To go back and say, hey guys, this is what I did. And this is the right way to do these things. And we know that this industry is tainted with a lot of speakers and a lot of people who are putting out misinformation for everybody.
So when you start feeling like you can go to work because you want to, not because you have to, that's an awesome feeling. I mean, I never had a mentor growing up. I had to figure this on my own. I had to just go through the hard knocks of learning and trying different things and spending millions of dollars learning stuff and trying stuff and losing things and losing deals. And so it's like, why not be a mentor to somebody else and help them and give them and help them get there faster?
You are now tuned in to the best roofing podcast in the world, the Roof Trollz.
Here we are again, guys, Roof Trollz. Got the marketing team flagging me down as if I didn't know we were rolling. I know. Well, we're in a conversation.
This ain't our first rodeo.
No, not at all. So we got a very fun guest, Angelo. No, I'm just kidding. So, Tony, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, Tony Flattum here out of Minnesota. Our office is right in Lake Elmo and been doing roofing for 23 years and currently with Built Strong Exteriors and building this brand up.
Let's dive right into it, man.
We want to know you, man. So we just tell us like who you are, like, do you have a family? Do you have kids? Like how'd you get into this, you know? Like,
yeah, definitely. I've been with my wife for 24 years, married for 17. So we have 3 kids together. My daughter is 17. My boys are 14 and 11. So a good fun age right now. Keep you busy, running around with sports, and daughter's driving. So that's always like a little nerve-wracking a little bit, but it's kind of fun seeing them kind of go off doing their thing. And, you know,
again, on one of the other shows, we talked with Reed, who works with you. And so we all semi knew each other because we all worked at the same company for a little while. But now we're all obviously back doing our own thing and everyone's having their own success. You know, we're doing pretty well. And not to say we're going to get to that level, but talk to us about a little bit your guys' success. Because I mean, you guys had a year where you did over 60 million, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that was in 22. We did that. Yep.
That's wild.
$65 million in 22. And put you guys in the top contractors. I mean, I remember seeing the list of the top 100 contractors. You guys were on there, which is an amazing feat just in itself. But, bro, what does that look like on a stress level? Like, let's just be real with people, man. 65 mil is no joke. Again, to put that in perspective, Roman's Roofing had a great year at 14. I feel great at 14.
Yeah.
65 million.
But before you answer that, it's because he's talking about stress for you is because you're the owner of this company. So I want so everyone understands the context of what you're talking about. Like, this isn't, you know, you're not just
he's
the rep.
The face.
Yeah, you're the guy. So just really dive into that because that's a lot on your plate, man.
Yeah, what did it look like?
Well, yeah, that year, I mean, we went into that year not even planning to obviously do that big a volume. I mean, before that, our best year was 22 million. You know, so we had a lot of years where we did, I mean, we were doing like, you know, 10, 12, 15 million for a lot of years. Like, we had a small sales team off and on for my whole career. We always had like 10 reps or less.
Yeah.
And so we would keep it small and tight and just go after it. And we all knew what we were doing and doing our thing. And then really 2020, we started to like shift gears. Like, we got to have a 5-year plan, like to go after it and go all in and see what we can do and how much we can actually take down. So in 2020, we did 15 million. And then after that, we came out in 21, we pushed and we're like, let's get after it and bust through this wall a little bit. We hit 22 million. And then going into 22, we're like, let's just go all in and do 32 million. That was our goal that year. So we started off all winter. We were kind of training, getting people in the door, hiring, planning to like really ramp up with no storm. We were like, we don't need a storm. Let's just go out there and get after it. So when we were in there, planning for that year, we got everything ready, and then we had an early storm in May. So when that happened, we're like, oh my gosh, let's just keep this thing rolling. So we just kept hiring more people and bringing more people in. We had to like figure out production because we were building 15 jobs a day at that time. And so we're like, we need to like step this up. So we had to figure out for our production to like divide and conquer. We couldn't just have everything going through our regular system. So we took our people and divided and then added assistants for them so we can double our production team. and then started adding more people in the field so we can get up. We were building 30 roofs a day, 6 days a week for like June, July, August, September, all the way through almost the end of the year. And so
That's
it was
crazy.
It was just nonstop. And we literally hit our goal of 32 million by like July. So when we hit that, we're like, oh my God, we got to just keep this going. Like, let's just see what we can do. Like, let's just push it. And so we literally set our goal to 40. And then we hit that pretty quick. And then we're like, oh, let's push it to 50 and hit that. And then towards like end of September, October, usually we start winding down a little because, it's Minnesota up here and the weather starts to turn on us and start to get cold and you can't really build much anymore. So we're like, well, let's just keep pushing and try to go to 60. Like, let's just see what we can do. And we just kept turning in jobs. Like there's just so many jobs coming in and getting the approvals. And we had a massive sales team. And we finished at like 64.5 million is what we finished at.
So wild. Man.
And there was guys that were still turning jobs in all the way through December. And we couldn't build those jobs because we were just snowbanking them until the next year. But I mean, we still built, I think, 45 million of it that year, and 15 million or so, 20 million rolled over. So, yeah, it was just a crazy year, but we took it and ran with it. And now we know what our breaking points were. And we were understaffed. I mean, like all of us, we were just understaffed and we were wearing 8 hats and running around doing things and trying to get it done. So that next year we kind of hired a bunch more people to fill all those gaps. So then we weren't overworked with people that were really working around the clock trying to get it done. But we just all agreed, like, let's just get after it, and we all went in. So
that's remarkable. Like I can't imagine having to go through all that. Like when we have like our big stuff going on, it's crazy for us sometimes, but not to that level at all, man.
But I like hearing the fact that you went from, you were hovering around the same thing we were hovering around, the between 10 and 15 million. And it's so hard to to put that in context for people to understand it. Like $10 million is a lot in this industry.
It is.
And $15 million is even more insane. And people that listen, you're like, well, that's only 5 million more, but that's 5 million more. Like, it's just a lot. And then to have the dream of 22, because we feel like what you just explained is kind of what we're trying to do now. Like, because we wanted to do 15 last year. We about 14, a little bit over 14. And we're like, all right, well, why don't we set the bar a little higher? We'll try to go 20. And we were thinking 22. And then, like, just to think that happened, you guys went 65, dude, on a goal of 20. That's just remarkable.
What I want to ask you this, and this is the question I've been like wanting to ask, and it kind of is perfect timing for it, is when you make that leap, right? So there's something to be said in business, and I know you've had other businesses, and you've been an entrepreneur now for many years of your life, but the gap between, like, where is the lull in that return on investment? Because at some point, in my opinion, and from people I've listened to or heard, is that once you start getting too big, like, because of all the hiring, obviously there's so much more you have to do, that ROI is a little less. Now, do you think that's the same in our industry? Did you guys feel that, or was it just business as usual, just at a really large scale?
No, I mean, there's definitely a lot more cost involved because you got to hire, leadership team. You got to start putting things in place for upper management. I mean, you start having to pay more quality people and bumping people up from the next level to the next. So you're not having to pay that lower salaries for a lot of people, and then you're doing all the work, right? Now it's like you're delegating and having a production manager overseeing something, or having an office manager and, sales manager and sales director. So you start adding these layers. It's more money, but then you're making more money because you're doing more volume. But the biggest thing is when you start doing those volume and you start bringing these people on and doing this, then if you start going backwards a little bit, now you got to kind of figure out, like, okay, how can you manage this? Because you can't have, like last year we had 80 employees. And going into this winter, we had to bring it down to 52 employees, because a lot of them, and it wasn't we were just cutting costs. It was like we were looking at our operation and saying, hey, who's here for the right reasons? Who wants to be here and who doesn't want to be here? And if they're not on board and they're kind of half-assing things here and there and just not pulling their weight, we have to cut those people. And it's not like we're just trying to just cut costs, but it's like we want to keep the best and get rid of the rest. Yeah. And if you're not doing that and you're just hanging on to people, that can really kill your overhead going through the winter months if they're not on board. Because you can always get rid of somebody that's just not in it, has a bad attitude, just showing up to punch the clock, and they're just there getting by. It's like, I don't want that around me. I mean, it sounds bad, but it is true. Like, I don't want to have bad. It's like I don't want to have people around that are just like they're punching the clock and they don't have the same passion that I do, and they just don't care about the company, or they're just there for a paycheck. It's like, go somewhere else and get paid then. Don't sit here and suck off of us and hate what you're doing and talking crap. It's like, go somewhere else, please. So we've gotten better at just looking and finding out who's on board, removing them, and bringing in good people. Yeah. And if you're around good people, you're going to grow and you're going to blow up and you're going to, go to the next level. But it's just getting better and faster at removing the bad people.
I see the wheels in your head turning because it resonates. I mean, this really hits home because we are internally battling right now a very similar situation as what we're talking about right now, where we have an individual that we believe in, but unfortunately it's gotten to the point now where we may believe in him more than he believes in himself. And once that starts happening, it's just not good. And our culture, like the profits over culture, that's a real thing that we're trying to implement at Romans. Like, we really want our culture to be strong and everybody be united. But when you were talking, it made me like, I want to talk about the things that I don't think people fully understand what happens when you do something like $65 million. You've been catapulted now to the front lines. People want to put a camera in your face. Yeah. They want you to get out there. They want you to talk about it because a lot of companies are struggling to grow, and watching a company like yours excel in it, and with the personal development.
Yeah, we want
team,
the secrets, man.
You guys stay intact and stuff. Well, that's not just the secrets. Like, how different is your life now after the 65 million, straight up in this industry? Not. I know you have like all your other stuff that you do on the side, like you alluded to, but after 65 million in this industry alone, your image in this industry, how drastically different was it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you get more on everyone's radar. I mean, people are starting to ask, like, who is this guy, or what's he doing, or I haven't heard of this guy or this company. And we've been hearing about it, like a lot of these events, like, I never even heard of Built Strong. Like, where do you guys come from? Like, how are you guys growing so fast and hitting these numbers? And it's like, well, I've been doing this for 23 years. And it wasn't my first rodeo. So, like, we just really kind of kept being my first company we built and did that. Like, we were all over. Like, we had 11 locations. We were in Chicago. We were in Dallas. We were all over the country storming back in the day early on. Back in like 06, 07, 08, chasing hurricanes and hailstorms all over the country. So, like, we've already had that big image of, like, going big. And then I just got tired of traveling and being gone all the time, working storms. I started to have a family with kids, and it was just getting difficult to where I'm like, I can't be gone for months at a time. So my partner and I just went different directions and parted ways, and I regrouped and took the whole team from Minnesota, and we rebranded because we had a company that we sold off to a franchising company, and so they started franchising. And so we just rebranded and kind of pulled it back a little bit to where we're like, we're not going to travel. Let's just stay here. We got 8-10 really good reps, solid reps that are $2 million plus reps, and we're just going to run and do our thing and keep it small. And then you do that for a while, and you're like 12, 15 million, like, you're doing this. You're like, what's next? Like, what's next? And so I'm like, and those guys are all fine because they're making their money on their commissions, and they're like, this is great. But it's like, well, if you keep people that are really good on board with you, every year they're going to want to raise. They're going to want to make more money, more opportunity. And if you're doing the exact same numbers every single year, eventually your overhead just starts to go the wrong way. Yeah. Like, you just start paying more and you're doing the same volume. So they're making their commissions, and I'm like, you guys, we have to go to the next level. And so I'm like, we have to go hard. We have to figure this stuff out. We went down to a couple of boot camps and learned some things and figured out where there's certain breaking points. And there's a breaking point at 15 million. That's the next breaking point. So they kind of show you, like, what these next breaking points are, what you need to do to get past them, and what things you need to add to make your company go. And once we did that, we're like, oh my God, light bulb went off, and we just started going and hitting that 20 and then ramped up to 64. And then, like, last year we went down to 40, and it's like, we're regrouping a little bit and restructuring and just ready to rebuild and keep going back up again.
What an amazing statement, though, by the way. Yeah. Like, last year we went down to 40. Like, that's amazing.
Still amazing.
Yeah, that's even 40 million. I mean, to us, anything over 15, really, because I've been battling since I've been in this industry. I've led a couple teams, and the most that I've ever been able to get out of them was $12 million. Up until last year, we did $14 million. And I'm on the same level now. I'm like, dude, it's what is next? I'm tired of hovering in this number. Like, what do I got to do to get there? And we've taken some plays from you guys, like, you and Ty. You guys were really big believers in in development, you know, of the people, the individuals that work with you. It's not just like in this industry, but just in general as like human beings. And I look at you guys as like kind of mentors almost. Like I study you guys and follow you guys. I listen to your podcast that you appear on. I've seen you, you know, you're starting to make videos and stuff, which is awesome. Kudos to you. Yeah, dude, you got to get out there and do content, man. Like,
I know. And that's the funny thing is, like, when you're asking about like, what is it like now for me? I mean, for my whole career, I never want to be on video. I didn't want to be the guy flashy saying, hey, look at me, look at me. I was always just doing the work, you know? And I always had my partners be the ones doing the sales meetings or being the big hype and getting all the attention and having them do that stuff. And I'm like, I want to just go to work. Like, I don't want to be labeled as the, you know, the guy and whatever and running around. So it took me a long time, like, because I was literally just being part of these masterminds and doing this. And that $64 million a year definitely put us on the map to where they're like, hey, man, tell me your story. And then I went through and told my story, like from all the different companies and the partnership stuff and the things that happened. And then my real estate journey and doing all this different thing. They were like, you have to tell your story, man. And I'm like, yeah, but I just don't want to be the guy up on stage or talking then. But now I do. But back then I'm like, I don't want to do this stuff because I don't want all the attention. I want to feel like I'm bragging. Yeah. I wasn't a big bragger. Like, I didn't want to be that person feeling like I was bragging. But then when they told me, like, dude, you're not bragging. Like, you are helping people. And if you look at it that way, that you're going to help people, you're going to have people that are going to hate and say things like, oh, you're bragging or this or that. Let those ones hate and let them go. But it's everyone that you're helping. And I'm like, that makes sense to me. And that's what I want to do now.
You had an obligation. So the 64 catapulted you to make it to where you had everybody's attention. And then you owe it to the industry. Honestly, you do. To go back and say, hey guys, this is what I did, and this is the right way to do these things. And we know that this industry is tainted with a lot of speakers and a lot of people who are putting out misinformation for everybody, are giving little teaser bits and not really like putting the formula out there.
It's their call to action is like they're going to give you a little bit of a tidbit, but it's like,
but then you got to pay for the rest.
You got to pay for something, or there's like this catch with it. And you know, one thing that I've noticed from, you know, my interactions now with you guys is because, you know, we knew each other very minimally at the company that we were a part of for that little while, but is the like-mindedness. Like there's something to be said when you meet people that are aligned with your values. And, you know, after getting to meet Reed now, and, you know, because again, I look at this guy and I'm like, I don't know anything about this guy. He's, you know, older than me, and just hearing his story and like his words, it's like, damn, these guys are a lot more like me than I thought. And it's not just me, you know, one of our partners, you know, Mike, he's known you guys and he talks and he's like, you guys, like, you're a lot more alike than you know. And I'm like, what do we have in common with these guys that are doing 65 million that are in a different market? But then I get to talk to you guys and we go to dinner. It's funny, but when you break bread with people and you actually get to like, you sit there and I don't care if it's a $10 meal or $100 meal, it's a meal. You get to really, I feel like, get to know these people. And you know, I talk about Elijah a lot, and he's so unapologetic about being who he is. Like he wants to stay authentic, and I love that. And not that I know you that well, but my kudos to you is that, you know, we went to a nice dinner last night. There's no two ways around that, right? It's a nice place.
Thank you for that, guys. It was awesome.
No, man. No, thank you for showing us that. That was literally one of the best meals I've had. That was the best Rockefeller oysters I've ever had in my life. The hands down, that was the best. But yeah, that was a great meal.
But to walk in, and we can go back to that in a second, but I just want to, again, to give you your kudos is, you walk into this guy that owns this company and you're fucking in a hoodie, man. Again, me and Elijah, we just have this, we've always had this dream. Like we came up in this in sales. We came up poor, whatever, right? But we always had this, we want to always be who we are. Don't ever let money change you. Don't let the little bit of fame you might get from something change you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people that know me, like, right, I did like modeling for a little while. And I remember being like, I hated it. When it, like my little thing blew up for like this weekend, right? And I was like, I fucking don't like this. Yeah. Everyone's talking. I'm like, that's not what I wanted. It was just like a goal of mine, how it all panned out. And then I met you guys and I'm like, these guys are here just in a hoodie and jeans. You fall into the judgment of people. And you know, I said it, you know, off camera, it's like, you don't mean to judge them, but you're going to make some type of notion about them. Yeah. You don't want to judge people, you know, you don't judge a book by its cover, right? And I think all of us try not to do that. But it's just so true. And that's what I think one of our biggest things with the podcast that we've been trying to do is show people actually who we are. Show people about this industry, the people that are in it like you, that are doing it for the right reasons. Like one of the first things you said was just about how you caring for people and that want to give back. Yeah. You know, what was the coin? The phrase you said that I want to coin is, you have to become selfish with selflessness. Mm-hmm. Dude, that's just like he said, like the guy said right where you are, and he said that. I'm like, man, that's something you gotta like really like think about that. And I'm so honored, and like I'm grateful to have met you guys, and it's just awesome, man. Like you guys are just doing shit the right way, and it's true, man. Like I'm starting to see you guys as more of a, you know, a mentor, because like, it's nice to talk to you, to be like, damn, so you and me aren't wrong. You know, we go to the events and you hear people talk, and it's like, it's the same shit you and me are talking about, you know, when we were out knocking doors together. Like, you don't have to make this more than it is. You know, this is a good industry, and you can do it the right way, but you know, you're tainted with the company you were at, or it's staying true to yourself, man. I mean, once you start to change and the fame gets to you or whatever, the money, I've seen partners, I've seen friends make some money and it wrecks them. And it's brutal. Like my last partnership was a brutal one. Like it sucked. It was a complete ripoff. Like bad. Me and all my sales guys got ripped off. And I talk about that, but not about the company, but the name, but it's just about what happened in that situation. Like it sucks when you have somebody that you trust and you're with, and all of a sudden they start making some money, and maybe there was more to it. I don't really know. I still don't know today, but came in and blindsided all of us and out of the blue. And it was just like, why would you go that route? Why wouldn't you just sit down and say, hey man, I'm not seeing eye to eye. I don't like where we're going. I don't want to be partners with you no more. Let's part ways. Perfect. I feel the same way. Let's part ways. But came in, lawyer, blindsided me, took all the money out of the account, and didn't give us crap, and ripped off me and all my sales guys, and we had to start over. And it's just brutal when that stuff happens, but people are fake. You know, some people are fake, or they make money and do that. But if you can be true to yourself and just, be genuine, like, I don't need all the fancy stuff. Now I do have nice cars, and you have some things, you go on cool trips, like you have that stuff eventually, but don't have it change who you are.
No,
enjoy it.
That's what I like about this industry too, is because no one knows who the fuck we are outside of this. You know, that was part of the reason I brought on the podcast too, because explaining what we do to our friends or to our wives is like so foreign. Like you, for instance, I guarantee it. Like you maybe now, but your wife probably has no idea to the extent of like the amount of people who actually do want to sit down and talk with you. Like she probably doesn't know that. And it's because of what you do, you know, and that's a big thing. Like, you know, my fiance has never been to any events with us, and I want her to go to it because I want her to see like, this is bigger than what you think it is. It's a $300 billion a year industry. And if you're one of the people doing things or putting content out and stuff like that, like people know who you are. You go to these events, and that's what we're doing there. You know, it's not, yes, the speakers sometimes are really good quality. Yes, the event's fun, but that's not what we're going there for. Dude, we go to Utah because we're going to mingle with the people that are doing big things. We're going to pick each other's brains. We're going to go to dinners. We're going to chit chat. The side conversations that we have at those events are far more valuable, in my opinion, than anything that we see at the event.
Absolutely. I mean, you get to really meet people that are there doing their thing, and not like on a camera. Like you can be there and be yourself and really get to know them. And you're giving value, and you're getting value back. I mean, it's huge.
That's why you were on our guest list. So if you listen to the podcast in the very first couple episodes, Dante Sable, who's one of your partners and one of the things you're doing, we'll get into that too. At Collab, shout out Collab. But Dante, he brought up working with you and stuff like that. But when we got together, the side conversation that we had in Orlando, I brought it up to him and I talked to him about it. That was what we wanted. It was a hit list. That's what it was. Dante asked me what my hit list was as far as like guests for podcasts. And I was like, oh, I know Tony's for sure up there. Ty's for sure up there. Like I started going down the list, and you were already on that. But what kicked that into gear was we had a side conversation. Me, you, and Angelo did at RoofCon in Orlando. And we ended up sitting there talking for like 35 minutes right there in the lobby, just standing there. It was supposed to be like a 5-minute pass by, but it ended up being a lot longer. And both of us took a lot out of that, dude. When we were done with that, like, fuck, man, we got to get this guy on here. Like, that's somebody that we want to talk to.
I just wanted to talk to you.
We just wanted to shoot the shit with you. Yeah. And I'm thankful that you had us come up to Minnesota and stuff like that. Like, I'm thankful that we're able to do this. You know, Hook put us on, but dude, some of the things you guys are doing is like innovative. So like past the roofing and stuff, like let's dive into, I do want to talk about the real estate.
Where do you start? I mean, you guys.
That's what I'm saying. I want to talk about the real estate, but I kind of want to kick off Collab first, because I know you guys are like advertising it now.
Yeah, it's starting to get kicked off here. Yep.
Yeah, with Wade and stuff. And Dante, Wade touched base on what it was. Dante, you know, Dante's a weird dude, especially on camera. I mean, that's my boy.
He's great.
I love Dante.
All those guys. Yeah.
He would shout out my former sales manager. Yeah, Dante's great. But he's one of those guys that views everybody as competition, you know, and he openly said that. He was like, I don't want to share too much with you. I'm like, dude, even if I wasn't planning on using Collab, I'd still purchase it. Like, you guys made it. I'm still going to like take a look at it, but it's not competition because I have no interest in training people. But what is Collab to you, and what are you guys doing with that?
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much there's a couple of different pieces there. I mean, there's the roofing school that we're doing, similar to what was, you know, at the other company that they were doing before, just training people to get their PA license and roofing license and GC license. So there's that part of it. And then there's also a retail part to where it'll be an online school to where you can go on, similar like a Cardone University or like one of those platforms where you can go in and kind of get different videos and different little pieces of how to close or how to train or how to do certain things and help your sales team. So we're going to be building it out as we go. I mean, right now they did a handful of videos to kind of launch and start it. And then, you know, I'm pretty much the investor in the deal. So, I mean, I'm not really into the day-to-day mix, but I'm the one kind of behind the scenes helping out. I did go down to the second class and speak a little bit and talk to some of the people that were in the class and kind of tell my journey, my story and whatnot to them. And yeah, it's cool being involved. You know, it's just different little avenues and little pieces of what's out there. And it just keeps you excited. You know,
Yeah,
cool, man. That's
what gets us excited too is like everybody that's in it. So we always talk about that too, that other company that we all worked at, unfortunately things didn't work out the way that we wanted them to, or fortunately, because all of us seem to land on our feet. But all of us like are still together, you know, like the relationship you've built along the way. So I've known Wade since I was a PA originally. That's how I obtained my PA license in 2017. Wade was actually introduced to me when he was with Paramount. That was the first time I met him in Dell's class. So actually that was a remarkable class too, because amazing how many people got their PAs the same time I did. Like just a lot of these guys that are doing things like it was in the same class. But so Wade being involved in that is cool, and he was on the podcast sharing it. And then Dante, Dahlia, you, and then I saw Chad was teaching the class.
Yeah, he's doing some stuff, and
there's probably people I don't even know that are
Cody
involved
Klein.
in it. Yeah, Cody.
Yeah, Cody Klein's coming in to do some commercial training stuff on the platform.
We got him coming here. I believe he's going to be in Indy. I think he said in March or April, but we're going to get him on.
Hey, and shout out to Cody Klein really quick, man, because like what another just humble dude that is doing things the right way. And, you know, and I've already talked about it with you before, but man, what a gracious thing. You know, he gave Elijah this great shout out when he was on the panel at Door to Door Con. And that's what I mean. Like, you're with like-minded people that are there to help bring people up and not, you know, let the little, maybe if it is their notoriety at that moment overcome, you know, who they are. And it just so cool, man. Like I said, I was like, again, this is one of my best friends, right? He stood up at my wedding. But to like see my boy who's on this path, like, you know, he has his goals, which I try to make this. And then it's like, this guy's up there and he's like, and hey, if you guys are, because they're talking about marketing and stuff, and they're like, he's up there with guys that already have a name for themselves. And he's like, actually, a guy I know over here, Elijah Mum, get with him afterwards. You know, what he's doing right now at their company, you guys can take away from that. And it was like, this dude does not have to do that. Like, he's up there with other 4 guys that are like powerhouses.
I had no idea. I was shocked when it happened. There was a whole room full of people that like staring at me and then coming up talking to me. And I'm like, dude, like, I was like completely mind blown. And Cody's fucking wild anyway, bro. That dude's like climbing Mount Everest and shit.
Well, he climbed the fucking Mount Everest with Mike Posner.
That's it, Posner. Yeah, Posner was on the mountain with him.
That was an awesome story too, when he talked about not about a mountain, but walking across the country. At
yeah,
DQD.
oh, dude.
I mean, like, he was there this year.
Well, Cody took a picture with him. Like, how do you guys know each other? And he's like, oh, we spent 8 days together on Mount Everest. I'm like, what?
That's
what,
crazy,
dude.
And he's like, yeah, we met, we exchanged numbers, and we're like friends now. And I was like, that's what I mean. Like, it's a small world for sure. But I just had to give kudos to that, man, because like I said, this is my fucking boy. We grew up together.
Like, keep that in mind though too. Like, as you guys grow and get bigger, like, be that person.
100%.
Help out and throw out names and drop, you know, little nuggets and help people out. Because everyone always asks me, like, why do you talk to so many owners of companies and give them like your playbook or talk to them? I'm like, why not? Like, if you have it, give it away. Like, I mean, I never had a mentor growing up. I had to figure this on my own. I had to just go through the hard knocks of learning and trying different things and spending millions of dollars learning stuff and trying stuff and losing things and losing deals. And it's like, yeah, now I have mentors now. So it's like, why not be a mentor to somebody else and help them and give them and help them get there faster? Because it's like, I guarantee if I was talking to somebody that was doing $100 million, way earlier and kind of learning what they did and what they did at certain breaking points and how they got past it, I would be there a lot faster. Now we're on our path to where we want to go to 100 million a year. That's our plan. That's our goal. And it's not about just making $100 million. It's about making sure that all of our people in our company can fit it within my dream.
Well, people are scared. People are scared of competition is what it all comes down to. They want to be the guys who know how to do this thing. And hey, man, we got here. You got to get there on your own, because they fear what'll happen if those people get on there, as we're like other people like me and you. When we look at that, the very first thing I tell everybody all the time, the very first thing I'm doing when I climb to the top of the ladder is I'm reaching down. Like, that's the very first thing I'm doing. I'm grabbing one of my boys, I'm pulling them up with me, and then my hopes is that they will grab one of theirs and they'll grab one of theirs, and like it'll be a network thing. And I believe in the network, and I believe in like growing together. But also competition. If you're the best or you want to be the best, how can you be the best by limiting everybody else's knowledge underneath you? Let somebody know what you do.
What's the saying?
Be the open book.
Iron sharpens iron, right? Like, if you just so happen to be the best in your industry, that's great for you. But at some point, like, it's going to dull itself out.
But are you the best? That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Are you the best? Why don't you get everybody up to speed with you? And then that will make you need to grow more. That'll make you become a better version of yourself, because you'll be competing against people who share the same knowledge as you. It took me so long to understand that, like the whole reading books and trying to take nuggets out of it and like really like diving into it and just realizing that like it wasn't that I wasn't talented. I wasn't as talented as I thought I was, because I wasn't helping people. And I have the gift of gab. I had a natural ability to knock a door and spit to people, and I still do it the same way. Like, you would be amazed if you knew what I said at a door. Straight up just tell people, hey man, everybody out here is doing the same shit. I just have a different experience for you. I'm going to take care of it because I'm the best at what I do. And as long as you go through me, it's going to get taken care of the right way. If you don't want to do business right now, here's my card. I'm going to go hit a couple of your neighbors. I guarantee you someone here is going to do work with me. And then maybe after the build's done, you'll want to do it. And people just roll with it, man.
It's being confident.
Yeah.
What you're doing. They want it.
Yeah.
Well, there's no fluff or the BS. It's not. And I think that's where he and I, because again, he's the guy that was convinced me to come, take this journey in this industry. Right. And it's so many people, and there's so much of the fake salesman stuff. Like, dude, there's something to that. Like, don't get me wrong. You need to have some type of script. I do believe that and all that. But at the end of the day, if you just are not a piece of garbage and you tell people the truth, and you're actually like vindicated with your actions, and you're like, no, seriously, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And then you fulfill that. People want to work with you. And there's so many people that are like pushing the salesman, and they
want the paycheck. I mean, if we always preach at our company that it's like, you don't chase the paycheck. If you're out there chasing to help people first, you're going to get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Get out there and just do it and knock on a lot of doors, ask them, find out where they're at in the process and how you can help them. And if you're helping people on the process, the paychecks will come.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they can smell the commission breath. I mean, if you're out there just trying to get a deal and saying, yeah, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. It's like, if you don't know something, tell them, I don't know that. Let me call my manager and find out, or let me look into it and I'll get back to you. Like, I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear to get you to sign up. Like,
man,
I want to be
guys
truthful.
that all the time, dude.
You have to be.
Yeah, it would go a long way if you'd shoot a text to a homeowner. Even like I tell my guys, they're like, well, I didn't talk to the homeowner for a week and a half or 2 weeks. Well, why? Because I didn't have anything to say to him. Well, why didn't you say that? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, I swear to God, I'll just shoot a text to him saying, Ms. Jones, I honestly, I just wanted to let you know that we're still actively working your file. And I know you haven't heard from me in a while. I just wanted to let you know that I don't really have an update. But if there's anything that you have a question about, or if there's anything you'd like me to figure out, please let me know. I just want to make sure that you understand that I'm still very much involved. I do care. And as soon as I have an update, I'll reach back out to you. But just to keep the line of communication up, just chit chat, dude.
They love that. They appreciate it. I mean, just think, if you were that customer sitting there not getting a phone call, what would you be wondering and thinking, like, what's going on? Where are these guys? You get a courtesy call, they're gonna be like, oh man, hey, thank you. I know where you're at now.
Or find a common ground too. Like one of my clients, Anthony Machich, who ended up being a good friend of mine now. He's a Notre Dame guy. So I was in his house, we did his signature and all that stuff. Like, he was Notre Dame, did his roof, knocked it all out. He gives me shout outs all the time and referrals. But our communication with him was never really about roofing. I would just wait until Saturday morning, and then I'd shoot him a text of the over underline for Notre Dame, like, hey, you don't need any shekels on this? Like, what are you doing? And we would shoot the shit with each other, but that was it. He would ask me occasionally, hey man, do you know anything about this? And I would, I'd look it up and I'd say, oh yeah, this is this situation or whatever, and then it'd just go on from there. But then it was great, man. It was a good customer to have. Same with the other guy in Chesterton that we did. it was a long time ago in mid-America, but the guy, he had 2 dogs, and I'm obsessed with dogs, and they were 2 pit bulls, and they were beautiful dogs. So I would send him like Kong toys and stuff like that. And like, hey man, my pit bull loves these, because he had mentioned that they shred toys and stuff. But like doing those little things make people feel that like it's more than just, I'm not there just to get your roof done. Like I do that, but like I'm a human being still, and so are you. So like let's communicate like that, and it just goes a long way. I wish more sales reps understood that. It's
that they I think they just don't understand that it's you need to come to them on a common ground. And my thing is always like, again, we talked a lot about, I became a homeowner when I was 30, right? I didn't have all the success and all that in my younger years, but what would you want? And you kind of just touch on it. If someone came to your door, do that. How would you want to be treated? That's it. Just how would you want to be treated if it was just the reverse? And it's like such a simple thing, but people just can't. And this is what we keep trying to, like, our big thing with everyone at the company right now is like, stop making it harder than it has to be. Keep it simple. It's not, this job isn't for everybody. It's not easy, but it's not hard. And it's such
even right now for us, like at our company, I mean, we have a lot of people that are there in management and helping out, and we've kind of gotten some processes overcomplicated to where it's like this year we're throwing things out and dumbing things back down and removing some things and keeping it simple, because it's like we're overcomplicating it. Like we don't need to have this much time to turn a job in. Like let's dumb that down. Let's dumb down our processes and clean things up. But it's good because you have all these other things now in place, and you can be like, okay, we don't need that. That saves time. We can knock this out, knock that out, and keep always adapting to make it better. Every year it's like we have to go through, which is kind of nice having our winters up here. Yeah. Because then it's like we're not as busy. We have time to really sit down as leadership team and go through and revamp and change our SOPs a little bit, update that, and go through our handbook and just go through all of our stuff to where every year we're just getting more and more dialed in every year. So I feel it's always a work in progress.
Sometimes as owners or people who've been doing this for a long time, we tend to get in our own heads with stuff like that too. Like I never want to downplay the homeowners that we deal with, like customers and clients, stuff like that. I never want to downplay them. But the reality of the situation is, in the world that we live in right now, a lot of them don't care. Like they really don't. And when I say don't care, I mean like they don't need to. They really don't want the information on all the cool things that we think are cool, like the felt and all that stuff. Like they don't care about that stuff. What people are looking for is experience. Was the experience what they wanted it to be? How convenient was it for them? And the third one would be cost, but I honestly don't even think cost matters anymore. I think the world we live in now is all about convenience and experience. They want to be taken care of and make it as simple as possible, but they also want the experience to be enjoyable. They want their sales rep to be somebody that they can connect with. They want they don't want to have to track down updates. They want you to give them to them, and they want you to bring everything to them for convenience purposes.
I think the only thing I would say that you're missing with that is that you come off as the professional. Is that you are the guy that actually knows what you're talking about. I think that's one thing that separates a lot of people, like the really good reps from like the mediocre, right? Is that when they got to that door, they're able to tell them, and just so you know, I'm here for your roof, but you're gonna already know, but your ventilation's probably off. Those little things let them know, like, you are an expert. Wait, how can you tell that?
Right.
And it's because I know it, I studied not just the sale part of it, but like, I think we forget that the product we're giving out at the end of the day is roof, siding, and gutters. We get so caught up in the sales part of it, or the insurance process, or how can we get more financing, or all those other things where, to me, and it's been something that I'm trying to work on, something with the company, is like, we still have to really perfect the craft that we're doing, right? Our build's perfect. Like that's, to me, what is a big hindrance in this industry, is that we're going to all these events and we're talking to all these people, and it's as important as sales is. That's just how do you sell the product? Well, who's actually talking about the product? And I think that's what we're kind of missing. And I've never been, and I kind of...
Well, people talk about the product. Who's talking about building?
Correct.
That's what you mean.
Like they're talking about the product, but not, to me, sometimes not the right way, right? Is I'm going to give you the best experience, and you're going to be enthused, because the reason they're shopping with us is because they think I'm going to put this wall on better than somebody else. Well, now I have to make sure that happens. And I don't think that's everybody, but I think that's where like there's a small niche, and I don't know if that's going to be me that does it, but I think that's going to be something that someone is going to get some notoriety in our industry with one of these events or something is really talking about knowing this stuff. Because I don't think, and I could be wrong, right? I only have experience with our companies, and maybe you guys do too, or you guys do it and I just don't know. I just feel like we're not talking about this stuff as like the rep, like really being that professional. Like,
well,
really.
It's kind of, so John Scenic, it's kind of like in his, that's like his wheelhouse. He's doing that right now with like photos and stuff like that. He's just like making sure that it documented the right way, but he has like a whole thing where he goes down like all the tie-in, like how the valleys tie in, the codes for the roof to wall flashing, how to detach and reset, which then you could submit for ITELs and get full replacements on. Like that's like his niche right now. He's like trying to work that out. But as far as like educating people on the builds, it definitely lacks that. One of the things we talked about though was like how, and during my hiring process, I tell people like, listen, this may not be long term for you, but this could be a stepping stone to get you to like a whole new level. And I wanted to touch base with you on your realty because you're more successful in realty than you are in roofing. So like, how did you get into that? And did you use this industry to catapult that?
I did. So pretty much when I had my first big year in sales in 2003, I had my big year. I sold like a bunch of jobs that year and had a lot of money coming in, and my first time ever really seeing a lot of money. And I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do with this? So we were living in a little apartment, and I'm like, well, I want to be able to buy something so I can call my own, but I'm like, I don't want to be too crazy and get a big house or do anything like that. So I'm like, I started looking for a duplex, and my whole plan is to buy the duplex, live in one side, and rent out the other side and have it be almost paid for. And I'm making tons of money coming in on sales. And when we bought the place, it was kind of my door to real estate. I bought the place and I'm all excited. We're going to move in. But the person I bought it from was like, hey, we're building a house. Is there any way we can stay in here for 6 months until our house is done? We'll pay you rent. We have a lady that's paying up rent on the other side. You can't move in right now, but we would love if you let us do that. And I'm like, my girlfriend, which is my wife now, I'm like, should we just keep staying here for a few more months, let them stay there, we'll move in when they move out, being nice, right? I'm like, yeah, we'll do that, and we'll delay ourselves. And by doing that, I started seeing these checks coming in. All the bills are paid for, and I'm putting like $500, $600 in my pocket every single month. Did that for a few months, and then I'm like, and then more and more checks kept coming through too, to where I'm like, and my girlfriend, she's like, so why are we going to move on one side? Let's just get a house. Like, what are we doing? So then we went and actually got a house and kept renting that place out. And that was my first dabble in real estate. I started seeing that. And that was back in 2004 is when I bought that place. And then from there, I just kept buying more and more. And then 2008, bought a bunch more, and then started buying office complexes and senior living complexes, multifamily storage units. I mean, warehouses, kind of got into a little bit of everything. So just been kind of building over the years, and it kind of got addicting for me to where you start really writing down like all your bills and kind of figuring out like, hey, how fast can I get to be financially free? I don't want to have to always work every single day. So when you start feeling like you can go to work because you want to, not because you have to, that's an awesome feeling. So I just wrote down all my bills and figured out how many properties I needed to buy to wash that out. And so when I did that, I washed out all my bills, and I think I was 30 then. When I did that, to where we were kind of pretty much financially free.
That's awesome.
And then from there, I just kept building the businesses and the roofing business, but then just kept getting into more deals. So like some deals I would just jump in if somebody was buying a property, and I would just invest some money and get some passive income. Then a lot of them I would buy my own and run the whole entire deal. So it was just like a wide variety of all of them. But I just figured instead of taking this money and blowing it on something to have fun with it, buy the stuff and then start paying yourself passive income, to where like even all the cars or the cool things you start buying now, like I literally waited 20 years before I did any of that. So I think if you wait and start having all that passive income coming in, now you can buy all that junk and the fun stuff and the crazy things off passive income and not blowing through all your earned income. And I think that's the biggest miss that we have in this industry. And that's where I'm starting to like really talk more about when I do go to these events and talk about knocking doors to owning doors is kind of my thing. And so I'm like, hey, don't always be trapped of making this money and buying the flashy stuff and buying this and buying that and having fun. It's like, be disciplined for a little bit, buy a property And even buy a fourplex or a sixplex or a duplex, like start somewhere. But once you do and you start seeing that passive income, now you know, like, geez, that check's there every single month, no matter what I do, it shows up. And then you start buying more and more. Now you start having all these things just ding in your account to where you're like, the 1st and the 15th of every month are pretty sweet months.
Heck yeah.
Or days, because like you have all these checks coming through of money that's just coming in.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I've sold a few over the years too, and then rolled into other properties. But it's like, man, when you can just keep buying properties, and even when you have like a down year or something, and then you have all that passive income coming in, that can kind of help you get out of a little hole sometimes too. If you're down and out and the cash flows out in the field and you're waiting to get it and need a lot of extra money. Like, I know that definitely helped me back in 2016 when my partner took all the money, because we weren't really even paying ourselves. We were paying ourselves a salary back then. And same now, like I pay myself a salary. So it's like you pay yourself a salary, all your money is out in the field coming in, and you at the end of the year, you'll pay yourself a little bit more, a little bonus and stuff. But when that all got taken away from me, if I didn't have passive income coming in, there's no way I would have been like, you know, be able to jumpstart and get going in another company or paying for things or a lawsuit. Like I did go after him to get my money. And did win, and he's paying me for that back. But it's like, I wouldn't have had the money to do that if I didn't have passive income coming in, you know?
No, man, that's like everything you're saying. I think it's like what a lot of people want to do. I think the thing is, it's hard. People don't know how to do it. I think there's just like this misconception of like it's harder than it is. And again, I might just be saying that because again, you make it sound.
Well, the market is a little bit more difficult now.
But I want to, before we get further, I want to ask you, because you said something about there is with like, you know, getting like a new rep and like, hey man, don't try to blow it all. You know, we talk with our guys, and I have a lot of empathy and grace with the guys that we have and any reps that I have. And because I've done it myself, is where it's, and what my question to you is I'm trying to articulate is, how do you get the guys to understand that if you know, for a guy maybe that's never had money or never really seen like these commission checks or what they can really do in this industry or working at your company, is how do you get them to like buy into the thought of just, you know, and then you talk about it a lot with the guys, is dude, just play broke for a year, man. I don't care how much money you're bringing in, but just dude, play broke like you still don't have it. And it'll really change that second year to like, you just have the money in your account. You're not worried, because it's where I say the empathy part is, man, they didn't have anything, you know, and you get that little extra money, and it's like, I can take my girlfriend out finally to a nice restaurant. And it's, you know, we're at a point where we can do that. Like, we're not worried about it. And I mean, I'm so grateful for that. But there was a time where it was like, I'm busting my butt right now. And I'm telling you, it's like, I give my wife a lot of credit, because I'm like, it's going to come. And, you know, I've always had that mindset, like, it's going to be okay, right? But once you then start making it okay, you want to spend the money, because I couldn't. Like, I've been promising, and you want to deliver. So I'm sorry, I was really long-winded, but like, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, for that, like, you still want to have fun along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, don't save everything. Like, yeah, definitely go to nice dinners. Reward yourself every single year. Like, say, hey, if I'm going to make this much money, I'm going to do this one thing. If it's a trip, like for me, I still went on nice vacations every year, you know, with my wife, you know, my girlfriend. I like that.
Yeah, set a little goal.
So it's like you set a little goal for yourself. And if it's a watch or whatever that may be, set that goal up. And if you work hard to get to your number, buy that thing, because you have to reward yourself. If you're not rewarding yourself, you feel like you're not doing this for a reason or a purpose, you know? So you need to really start figuring out and doing those things. And I went to nice dinners. I did those things, but like anything else, like you just take and put into a different bucket. Get it out of your account, because when you start getting your account and it starts growing and it starts sitting there, you'll be like, oh man, I'm going to get lazy now. And I've seen it. A lot of reps over the years get lazy and they start letting off the gas because they're like, I'm comfortable now. I got money. And it's like, remove that money out of a bucket and put it somewhere else into like an investment account or something to sit there until you find a property, and then buy a property, or get around, ask me, like, I'll tell you everything. Like, just get with me and I'll tell you where to start and what to start doing. But if you have that money sitting in there, everything's going to come available. So where you're going to be like, oh my God, I wanted this one watch. I wanted this cool car. I wanted that. And everything's going to come at you to where you're like, I can buy it now and it's available. You have to be disciplined. You have to just say, I'm going to wait. Yeah. And you always see those little memes and people always saying like, you either struggle now and be good for the rest of your life, or, you know, do whatever you want to do now, and then you're going to struggle the rest of your life. So like vice versa, like you want to make sure you can take like a 5-year plan or a 2-year plan, set some little things up and do those things and really show and have some fun while you're doing it. But then everything else, move it over to something. Get it out of your account so you don't see it.
Yeah, no, it's really
because
good
then you're
advice.
not looking at it. Then obviously you always don't want to work hard if you don't have a ton of money just sitting there. Like all my money, I keep rolling into a deal, so it's not available all the time.
Yeah, that's where I
put it in deals.
I'm trying to get to now is like the property thing, because I want to absorb something too. But he was mentioning, like I told the guys, that's what I did. So in 2017, I had a credit score of like 520 because I didn't have anything in my name, and I had a little bit of debt. So I made 150 grand that year. It was my first year making good money, and I didn't do anything. No one even knew I had that because I didn't spend a dime. And then we've been budgeting off of my income, which I've been thankful that Amanda didn't have to work for 7 straight years because I make good money. And I was stacking up money, and I'm like, hey man, I have some more extra income and stuff like that. And I didn't buy anything. So then when people start seeing like the purchases and stuff, they don't see that like now Amanda works because she was so bored at home. Like now she has a job. Well, we were already saving money and budgeting and doing vacations on my income. Mm-hmm. So now I have her income. And then that's like, now we're like, okay, well, we should probably start investing some of this because people are seeing it now. But like my phone, for example, I don't even have the newest one anymore. It's last year's. But what they didn't see was the phone that I had before that one last year was an iPhone 10. I went almost a decade without getting a new phone. To put it in perspective,
I have a 13.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'd make good money. I just didn't. That wasn't like something I wanted to spend on. I bought Amanda 2 cars before I ever bought mine. My first truck, my very first new car for myself, I bought last year, and I've been making good money. But like you said, like it's frivolous. You got to set goals and then give yourself that. Like I want a really nice watch. That's my new thing. Like I want one. Yeah. I told Amanda, I said, I have to do 20 million this year as a company to get my watch. Like because if I don't do that, I could go buy it, but then. For what? You know what I'm saying? Like, right. So reward yourself with it. But yeah, the rental properties thing, I'm gonna pick your brain on that.
Absolutely, man. It's a game changer. It's changed my whole life and everything I do about what I do now. Like everything I bought, my boat, all my cars, wasn't from the company. It was from my real estate. Like it's
badass.
And how many properties do you sit on right now?
So it's 1,270 doors, which isn't like one property, 80 doors. So like, it's not all properties, but it's like one property. My senior living complex is like an 87 unit or you get like 100 unit other multifamily property, storage units. Like, all that stuff adds up. But,
and really quick, it's over 1,200 doors.
Yeah.
And your story started out with your girlfriend, who's your wife now.
Yeah.
In your 20s, and you were just looking to buy a duplex to live in because you didn't want to buy a house yet.
Right. Just started.
And it's...
Yeah.
Again, it's the context. It's the pretext to today, how you got there. And I think these are just like the stories I love. And I think these are the stories that when people start listening to the podcast more and see that, they're just like, that's just badass. And it's not just the nice cars you have now in the boat. It was, yeah, man, I bought a duplex because I was living in a small apartment, but it turned into something so much more. And I was disciplined to get so much more. And it's just
and
awesome
the humility
stories,
behind it.
Yeah, man.
That's that's the main thing, bro. And that's like why we were so happy to have you on here, because people don't even recognize, like that's the hugest thing. Like, because anybody could be in your position and doing what you're doing right now. And most people would probably be arrogant at this point. Most people would be flashy with it and all that stuff. And you're not. You're not. And like every time I've met you and Ty, I'm like, dude, you guys are like so successful. And I hope that I can get to that success level. You will. And then I also hope that I can be just as humble as you guys are when I do get there. Because it's truly amazing what you guys are doing, man. And I'm proud of you, dude. If people don't tell you that enough, dude, I'm proud of you. Like, that's fucking inspiring.
And most importantly,
just
be
awesome.
proud of yourself. I mean, I have to assume that you guys are, because I know you guys are really into like, I don't want to say self-help in like a negative way, but like you really try to like have a good mindset. That's one thing I've taken from you guys. But like, I have to just know that you can wake up in the morning, you look at yourself, and you know that you're doing the right thing, right? That you're that guy.
Yeah, you always try to lead and do the right things always. And even like until I started getting noticed on the roofing thing and started talking more about it, like I never even really thought that I was doing that great. I was always just buying more properties and see another one, buy another property, move some money over here and buy that property. And then when I started going to events and guys were on stage talking about, oh yeah, I got 200, 300 doors, I'm like, shit. And then I started talking about what I'm doing, what I've done. And I'm like, shit, maybe I'm doing some pretty cool things here, and I don't want to be braggy about it, but it's like, man, it's just start.
Yeah.
And just like even in the business, you start knocking on doors and selling roofs and start doing it. Eventually you start doing more, and then you start doing more, and then you start adding more people to your company and training them. And I wouldn't even be where I'm at today if it wasn't for like the people around me helping me and helping them succeed. And even a lot of friends of mine that are no longer even with the company, I still help them. They reach out to me, I help them. It's like, why hold everything to you and not give it away and help them? It's like, help them get there, help the industry get better. If you're doing that, like you said earlier, it's a $300 billion industry. Like, I can't get $300 billion. I would love to get $300 billion of all of it. Yeah. But I'm not going to be able to get all of it.
We get a little sliver, but it's like there's plenty out here for everybody to eat, man. And again, this is another podcast, man. We could roll for another 3 hours, but unfortunately, Revens is over here. She's about to hit me with one of the mics.
They get so angry. Like
we're crossing into it. Yeah, they do. They get really upset.
But again, I want to make sure, again, we want to quickly, I want to thank Revens and Will, again, our production team that comes out here and helps us put all this together. Like, thank you guys for coming up to Minnesota with us. Like, again, it means the world to us. And thank you, man, and thank Hook and just...
Yeah, Hook for the hospitality. Also, if you guys are out there trying to get some shit together with your roofing company, you guys are a startup, hit up Collab, guys. Hit up Collab. Invest into them. They'll invest into you guys. We'll grow that stuff. Listen to Roof Trollz. You better listen to the Roof Trollz.
Yeah, subscribe to it.
Yeah, please, God, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm sick of asking for that. Leave us a 5-star review if you guys can. I hate asking for that too, but it helps us to be seen. So either way it goes, man. We're gonna have you on again, Tony. It was honestly a pleasure, dude.
There's so much to talk about, man, and it's we didn't even get into all the family stuff that I thought we would. It was.
Just don't have enough time.
There's not enough time, man.
We'll do it again, definitely. I'll come down to you guys next time. Like, I appreciate you guys coming up here, but we would have came down there too. So.
Dude, let's get another dinner.
And they got the Hard Rock Casino out by Stage Building. I'm obsessed with that steakhouse. It does not. It's not what we did last night. Sorry, but it's still very, very good.
It's a really good place. But man, just again, dude, I'm again just super gracious to be able to talk to you guys and pick your guys' brain and again hear your story, because again it's not that different than a lot of people's. It's just you had the discipline, you were humble and the humility and surrounded yourself with good people, and even when it was bad, you didn't let that affect you. You didn't keep that chip on your shoulder. You took care of business, right? There's something to be said about that, but it didn't overcome you and take over who you are at the end. And just, man, thank you. And Elijah knew how excited I was for this, because I just from talking to you this little bit, I'm like, I just want to know more about this guy. There was something there, and I've been shocked to get to know the rest of your team, man. You guys are just a really good group of guys, and But
we can't teach everybody everything, man. You guys got to go out and do your own research, but look him up, man. Tony Flattum, not going to be a hard guy to find. But as always, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you on the next one.
Yep. Thank you, guys.